Welcome back, everybody. Inferno here, back on the Sky Factory one more time. So, last time we left off, we did a little bit more with the blood magic. As you can see, it's grown up some more. Talked about the interdimensional stuff and the cobblestone setup I've got here, which is churning away. It's going pretty quick. I don't figure another 5 days or so it'll be done. Real-time days, that is, not actual Minecraft days. So that'll be forever. So yeah, got a couple things planned today. I got my achievement book out here. I'm gonna try to knock off a bunch of this stuff out of here and getting pretty close to getting this thing done. So looking forward to that a little bit. The Britannia, I think, is gonna probably be next time. Hopefully we can get that knocked out in one episode next time. But today I want to finish up with the blood magic stuff, at least as far as the book is concerned, and a couple other random little things. So let's get started. Alright, cool deal. So, I don't remember exactly where I left off with the blood magic, but basically I've upgraded this thing completely to tier 5 now. Most of these are all speed runes. These are some capacity runes. These are the tier 2s I was messing around with a little bit. They work a little bit different than the regular capacity ones, but if I get my little jobby out here, you can see we've got a capacity of about 21,000 now. And I've got all these speed runes on here. If I toss one of these in here, you can see how quick it goes. Boop, tier 1, and then it pauses, and then it starts again. Boop, tier 2. It's pretty quick. So while I'm at that, one of the objectives is to automate these demonic slates. So what I've got here is just a little simple setup. Basically, the way it works, it was kind of took me a minute to figure out how it was doing it. But basically, what it does is this thing can hold a stack. You can't manually put them in yourself; it'll just put it in and take it out, right? But if you pipe in, it'll actually hold a whole stack, and it will transform the whole stack at one time, provided you have enough of the liquid inside there. Or in my case, I've got this. I finally did automate this and got it piping in from the other dimension, which I'll show that in just a second here. But basically, if I throw 1 in here, it'll go through the same process we just saw. It'll start, boop, and then it'll wait and go to each tier. And then I've got this thing set up to extract when it gets to demonic slate. Like with the other infusers, this is not a fully automated. You can't just say, okay, make me these. You have to go through and change the filter for whatever it is you're trying to have it extract. And I've also fully upgraded the speed on these things, because what was happening is if I put more than like 30 or 40 in, it wouldn't be able to extract them in time, and it would start the next stage of transformation. So, you know, just a simple setup. Then I've got the switch here. I've got this set to redstone signal. So if I don't want it to auto extract for whatever reason, just turn it off. So yeah, but there you go. If I throw 2 or 3 of them in there, you can see it'll take a little bit longer. Maybe I've got so many speed upgrades, it's probably hard to tell with that little bit amount. But there you go. That's automated demonic slates done. Check. So let's go take a look at what I've got going on in the blood orb dimension. It's not super elegant, but it gets the job done. So I've got a chunk loader here to keep this loaded up. I've got my pump system that we set up, finished last time. Got some extra pipes laying around. I was trying to figure out how to pipe in and out. Get away from me. Oh wow, I didn't know you could do that. Holy shit. So if you left click entities, it teleports them to whatever location this thing's set to. That's kind of neat. Other than I've got him running around my base now. Yeah, I was trying to figure out which side to pipe that would accept pipes. And they weren't connecting, and I don't think it's just because I didn't have it set up right, but just putting a barrel on top fix that. So I have it pumped to the barrel, and then I have the barrel extracting through just a regular conduit into this fluid interface into this 5K storage block, which really isn't necessary. That was just part of trying to figure out how to get it from here into the RF system and then interdimensionally back home. I could have just piped it straight into the network receiver after I finally figured out what was going on. But basically it's just an importer set to fluid mode. And then that pumps into this, and then that's connected to the system here. Then go back to the home, kill this zombie I sent back over here, wherever he is. There he is. Hey guy. I'm going to beat you up with my bag. That takes too long. Die. Alright, cool. So then I had to put another, I just put another 512 fluid disc in here, just because that's the one that my system knew how to make without me having to stand there and babysit it. So this thing holds 512 buckets worth of life essence in this dimension in the disk drive. And then I've got it set up over here, just coming up through the floor there with an exporter set to, you just put a bucket of the stuff in there and it'll fill it up like that and set it to fluids and speed upgrades to pump it in as fast as it can accept it. So that's that. So let's take a look at where we're at there. Automate LP collection, check. Tier 5 altar, check. I'll talk about that in just a second. There was a couple extra steps involved in that. And automatic demon slates, check. So basically what happens is once you get to tier 3, in order to get to tier 4, you have to make these large bloodstone bricks. In order to make those, you need these weak blood shards. In order to get the weak blood shards, it doesn't tell you in here, but if you look in the manual, it tells you that you need the bound blade, which is this thing, which takes you know, in the alchemical ray, the ash, the alchemy ashes or whatever they're called, this binding regent and a diamond sword turns into this blade. So to get the binding regent, you need these tardic gems. I've already filled up a few of them. Here's one here. Here's some of the higher tier ones. But basically, to get these guys, it's kind of a grindy, just like a gate, you know, to keep you from being able to get too far into this too quick without having the obligatory grind. So to get the tier 1, you need redstone, gold, lapis, and glass. Lapis, gold, glass, and redstone. I think it was just a piece of redstone, right? So it definitely helps to have a chest over here, just because you accumulate so much crap with this mod. That was this stuff in here. And to make the initial one, you're probably going to be stuck using a demonic will. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's the only way to make it. You know, when you're at that point, that's all you have to be able to start the infusion. So that's that, and then you get a petty tardic gem. Pop that guy back in there. Then, in order to fill this thing up, you need this sentient sword, which is just an iron sword that is crafted in the forge with a gem. So you have to make one of those gems, put it in the Hellfire Forge with the petty gem and an iron sword and another demon will that has at least one will quality in it. Will craft the sentient sword. Then you have to have another one of these to fill this up. So basically, you have to get through each tier of the stones. In order to tier up the stones, yeah, that's gonna work. Let's do that. Tartaric. So that you can just craft the petty. To get to the lesser gem, you're gonna need a minimum of 60 will stored into the stone, and then it's gonna take 20 per craft to actually do anything. So it's kind of cheaty the way that I do it, or the way I was doing it here. But basically, the best way I found to do this, to fill these things up, the only way to do it is just to kill mobs with this sword. And you can see it says contains raw will, and it's got a 12 attack damage. It doesn't start that way. It starts out pretty crappy, like a basic iron sword, like 5 damage, I think. That as you kill mobs, it will absorb their will. But basically what I did, just to make this go quicker, is I rebuilt my little, where's my, give me some of these guys. 4. Actually, I need a 3, it's fine. I just built another little wither death chamber here, and killed them with I would, beat them up with my demonic sword, or my draconic sword, and then finish them off with the other one. And with this armor on, they just can't even touch me, so I just stand in here with them. Hey, what's up, guy? Yeah. Don't worry, it'll be over soon, bro. Oh, sorry, it's probably loud. So just get them low and then smack them with this sword. And then, of course, I enchanted this thing with sharpness to give it some more extra damage and mending, so every time I kill one of those withers, it repairs the sword. But you can see it filled up a little bit. It had to refill the sword some, and then it filled up like 15 into the gem. I think you usually get about three or 4 withers will fill this little gem up all the way. So then you just tier that up to the next tier, which is diamond, lapis, and redstone, and an empty petty gem. It doesn't have to be empty, but if you're using it with will in it, you're just wasting it, right? Lapis, redstone, and a diamond. So we throw all this in there, and I've already got somewhere so this is a lesser one that's already been filled up mostly. So if we throw that in there, it should. Oh, I gotta put this in. Boom. There you go. So yeah, as long as you have at least 200 or 60 will, it'll take 20 to do the operation, but you have to have at least 60 to start it. And then it's the same process. So you have to craft one of those into one of these and fill that up to get to the next tier, and so on and so forth. So this one takes 240 will. This thing only has a capacity of 256, so it's going to take a full one of those to even get the operation going. It's pretty much the same as you work your way up. So that's that. I'm not going to go through the whole process just because it's long and boring and tedious, like most of the stuff with this mod. So just going over the highlights. So then you need to get eventually to this Master Blood Orb, is like the tier Magician Orb. That was tier 3, is a block of gold. You need a tier 3 with 25,000 capacity, which if I remember was 5, 6, 7, 8 of the actual tier 1 capacity runes will get you to that point. I think these give you 2,000 per block, so you would need 7 of those to get you up to like 26,000. Anyway, moving on, I went ahead and gone up to the Master Orb, which is a tier 4 and 25,000 in one of these weak blood shards, which I'll talk about in a second. This guy up here, you have to have tier 3. Of course, now it doesn't matter because I was going to tear it down, but I wanted to show everybody how I got it set up. Incense, not essence. Incense. So you need the altar, which we made before, but you also need these paths, which I think take a tier 3 orb. Tier 2 orb. Did we talk about these? We might have talked about these already. Or I might have talked about them and not actually had made them yet. But basically, I just made, you have I'm not going to get too much into this because it's kind of pointless at this point. But the first tier of this altar is just this thing sitting on the 9 blocks. The second tier is the cardinal directions with 9 blocks of these wooden paths. And then you could fill these in. There's a chart on the wiki, or one of the wikis, that tells you what all the different values are and stuff. But I just fill it up with dirt and netherrack, and it gives you it maxes this thing out for the tier 2 at 60% or whatever, 60% bonus. Again, that doesn't matter because I've got infinite blood now. I don't really care about that. Right. So the weak blood shards, I'm trying to hurry through this stuff because it's kind of boring, I think. To get the weak blood shards, Right, we needed the bound blade, right? That's what we were working up to. So you infuse with the ash stuff. You throw that down. You throw the binding regent, and then the diamond sword gives you. Is it in here? Yeah, the bound blade. With these bound weapons, if you sneak right click, that's deactivated, and then sneak right click and it activates. It doesn't change in your hand, but it changes on the icon in the hotbar. Then I had set this little guy up here, and I had vector plates pushing him into this grinder, which is full of looting and mashing and stuff. I was running out of wither skulls, and the crops were just going too slow for my taste. So I put this stuff here. Gives you crazy. Like, I had this thing on for maybe an hour. I got like 10,000 skulls. But I just decided to get in here with this sword, and there's a random drop chance as you kill mobs with this sword to get the weak blood shards, which you need 2 of, I think, just for the achievements. I've got the thing with the switch on down there. I'm not going to turn it on. So anyway, one of those weak shards gets you the tier 5 orb, right? Or the magician's orb. Master orb. Tier 4. Right. So that's that. It's, kind of, I guess if you're in the early game, it might be helpful. With all this draconic stuff, there's really no point for me to really mess with much of it. Plus, I didn't know how to do any of it to begin with, right? So, Master Blood Orb, done that. I went ahead and just crafted up enough of this stuff to do all this. So if I get my Arcane Ash, I can go back in here. All these things can go in here. I don't need any of this stuff anymore. Get rid of some of this. Wither leftovers, all that stuff. That can go in the chest. That can go in the chest. That can go in the chest. Put this stuff over here. Keep it separate. Put that stuff in here. And these in here. Whoops. Don't need that. Cool. So these things are just right click with the ash, right? The binding regent, and then the bound tools are all diamond, just like the sword. And then the living armor. Get away from that. It's kind of loud. I don't think it's working. So I'm not gonna keep doing those. I just did that one to show you. And same thing with the armor. I don't even know what this is gonna do. I've never made this. Probably the same thing. Yeah. So that's that. So I'll craft those off screen. I don't want to keep blasting everybody with the crazy lightning sounds. Cool deal. So that's living armor and the bound stuff. Just need to make the sigil of the Void Walker, or whatever that thing was called. Sigil of the Phantom is a craftable sigil of Phantom. Phantom Bridge. Phantom Bridge Regent. That's a soul gem, 2 soul sand, obsidian, and stone. So I put all that soul sand stuff away too soon. Stone, obsidian, 2 of these. My soul gem. Should be enough for that, right? That's a lesser. Where's my oh, it's in my hotbar. There we go. And one of those demonic slates. Get that. Get that. This is probably going to be loud too. I have no idea. Let me go ahead and just turn these game sounds down a little bit. It's ironic, I turned those up because I realized I didn't have them on last time, and then I finally turned them on and it's all loud stuff, right? Figures. Faux figures. So I think it was this first. Work in progress, nice. It's a whip. And it's doing the things. And it's not going to make any noise because I turned the volume down, right? Turn that back up a little bit. Boom! There's that. So I'm not really sure how this works. So all this stuff, yeah, all this blood magic stuff, if it says deactivated, if you shift right click it, it basically binds it to your soul network, which gives it the owner, right? So I'm not 100% sure how this works. I haven't. Oh, look. Oh, so I guess it works like that, huh? Why? I don't understand why it started doing it. How do I take it stop? Deactivate it, I guess. Okay. So look at that. We're walking on the void. I mean, we're not at the bottom, but we're technically over it, right? So I guess that counts, huh? Cool. Well, then that answers my question. I was just coming over here to take all my stuff off so I didn't lose any of it. Let's turn that off. Get out the book. Give that old checky check mark. Wicked, wicked. Cool deal. Cool deal. Cool beans. Cool deal. That's cool deal and cool beans at the same time. Cool deal. I'm starting that. All right. So, egg mill. Let's get that going. Dragon egg mill. That's easy enough to do. Dragon egg mill. Got some dragon eggs here. Give me a dragon egg. And a dragon egg mill. So this thing is super OP. Oh man, they changed this recipe. I didn't even bother looking at it. At least in 1.12, it's way easier than this to make. Okay, so that's not going to happen today. I was hoping to do that today, but nope. That's going to wait till next time. That's just a quick thing. I just have to make it and then put a dragon egg on it, and boop, automatic 5,000 XP or 500, not XP, GP. Cool. All right, so just real quick here, wrap things up. I probably don't need a bunch of this stuff with me, but so one of the achievements is to regenerate five chunks in different biomes. Yeah, so five different biome chunks. So what I've done, if I go back to where was it? Let's see, I'm trying to remember where I put these things. I think one of them was here. I just went to a couple different dimensions. I didn't want to do it in the main dimension in case it started a bunch of lag. I put one here simply because I already have this kind of chunk loaded already. So it's these terrain scanners, which are kind of expensive to make. At this point in the game, they're really not for me, but take some Awakened Draconium. These things are kind of expensive. So premium ingots, Draconium ingots, gold ingots, iron. That stuff's kind of cheap there. Nothing too crazy with that stuff. But the and then 10 of these builders, which are pretty easy to make. These quantum quarries are they take nether stars. That's not the most expensive thing about those. But so I just built 5 of those and 5 capacitors. I'm hoping the capacitors will be enough to keep this thing running long enough. Just turn that on, and you can see it's bedrock there. It's just going to start building this chunk. And I'm assuming it stops when it gets to itself. I hope it wouldn't try to build around itself. Anyway, so I've got 5 of these set up around the different dimensions. I've got one here. I've got one, I think, around this end comet that I found before. One here, one there. Oh, come on, man, fly. Fly, man, you can do it. I need to get some chunk loaders in here. I can try the, I guess I could try the FTB one. Chunk load that and see if that stays on. I don't know if it needs to be quite as stable as the RF system one does. Well, this ain't going to work, is it? Doesn't appear to be doing anything. Okay, let's turn that off. So yeah, anyway, I'll have to find a couple other biomes that are working for that. I was hoping to be able to just do one. Like I have one in the Nether. I have one here. I have a couple at the chicken. I was able to find 2 biomes in there. Nothing too fancy with that, and I'm not going to sit around and just watch those things build a chunk. I just wanted to show how those work. And then we'll come back and check on them next time and see how they're doing once I get them set up in their final places. I didn't even test these things. I just put them there to have them ready to go. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for today. So that was a fail. This was a fail. This was I was hopefully getting those done today, but that didn't turn out, did it? I need to hatch another dragon. I actually did hatch one, and I watched him do it this time. It was still a baby, and somewhere over here, he was down here walking around, and I was like over that way doing something, and I seen like way down in the distance, just before he faded out, I saw a little dragon falling through the void. I was like, well, bye, dragon. Anyway, so yeah, so we've got Botania, a couple things in Botania. This thing, so I need to train another dragon. That means more fishing for me, so yay. And then that's pretty much it besides these last couple. The octuple cobblestone, that's almost done. That'll take a little while, but it's just time, right? It's just waiting for this thing. I've got 8 sextuple, so I would need 72 more of those to get 9 septuple, which is 1 octuple, right? So that's that. Same thing with the filling up the quantum storage. If it gets to the point where there's only 2 left, and they're just literally, I mean, they're doing their thing, it's just a matter of time. If those end up being the last 2 things, then whatever, right? Just call those good enough. I just need to get the stuff together. I'm not going to craft that on screen because it's got a bunch of stuff. Then that'll be done. I just need to find some chunks for that to start working, and then that's another, like, it's just going to take time thing, right? So really all I've got left to do is Botania and figure out this rainbow generator, and I think I'm going to use maybe that in combination of a couple other things possibly if I need it to get to the 1 billion RF. And that's about it for the achievement book. Botania, dragons, and a bunch of power. Rainbow generator / power. So yeah, probably only like 1 or 2 of these episodes left for this series. That's kind of exciting news. Sweet. So I hope everybody's having a good day today, and we'll catch you next time. See you later.